Whoa. Hey, sorry, I didn't see you there. I was just practicing my Dance Dance Revolution moves. Speaking of which, rhythm games are a huge genre in the video game industry, making players feel like that they can play music even if they have no talent whatsoever. You can likely think of a couple big games or series off the top of your head, like Osu, the Hatsune Miku series, or even something like Rhythm Heaven. But as you can imagine, playing music or dancing along to music from your favorite band or series is an enticing proposal, which is why in the early 2010s, a lot of games based off series or bands came out, such as the Alvin and the Chipmunks game, the Beatles game, whatever the frick this Big Time Rush game is. That's gonna be in my nightmare for weeks. However, there's one video game from this era that I haven't really heard many people talk about, and it's likely because it released for the PSP and was a Japan exclusive game. Say hello to K-On! Hokago Live, a rhythm game based off the anime series K-On! When I heard of this game, I was intrigued. I don't know if you can tell by my YouTube profile or my Twitter profile at the moment or anything, but I like watching anime, and K-On! Is actually one of my favorite anime of all time. So, after grabbing a PSP and an English translation of the game, I decided to check this game out. For those of you who are unaware, K-On! Is an anime series that ran from 2009 to 2010 in Japan and 2010 to 2011 for the English release. The show follows the 4 and eventually 5 members of the Light Music Club who band together to start a band. Unlike many other anime though, the show features a ton of original music with vocals made just for the show for the band to play, with a total of 15 EPs also being released by various characters from the show featuring their VAs singing the songs. With such a huge selection of songs available, they commissioned Sega, developers of Samba de Amigo and Space Channel 5, to make a rhythm game featuring songs from the show and EPs. The game would eventually come out on September 30th of 2010 for the PSP, 2 days after the Japanese release of the show's final non-OVA episode. There would also be an HD remaster of the game released nearly 2 years later for the PS3, but added no additional content that matters nowadays. But none of this stuff matters if the game is bad, so let's get into what this game is all about. The most important feature of a rhythm game, the gameplay. The game uses the 8 face buttons on the PSP, never asking the player to press more than 2 buttons at once. You have to press the button shown on the screen when the line passes through it, with there being 5 different results you can get, ranging from perfect to miss. As with most rhythm games, if you miss enough notes you will fail the song, but by hitting enough streaks in a row you can raise the tension, allowing you to get more points. At the end of the song, it will show you the results, giving you a grade between A and no grade, which is only shown if you fail the song. So yeah, it's pretty much a rhythm game with no crazy gimmick to mix it up, but it's also simplistic. The biggest relief is that the notes do line up to the songs pretty well, as a rhythm game with seemingly random notes would be absolute garbage. But I'm happy to report that's not the case here. Each song in the game is playable with the 5 members of the band, allowing 5 different ways to play a song. Each character has a different button combination that they usually use, like Mio, the bassist, primarily using the directional buttons. Their instrument will also play louder over the rest of the instruments, technically giving 5 different versions of each song in the game. So, now I'm gonna come clean. I have not really played rhythm games. I played this one rhythm game that was like $5 on the eShop once for like 5 hours and then never played it again. So this truly was my first real experience playing a rhythm game. And honestly, it was really fun for someone who was pretty inexperienced at these types of games. It was a little hard to pick up at the start, but I slowly got better at it. It also helped that I figured out on day 2 of playing that I could connect my PS4 controller to my PSP via Bluetooth, so instead of having to use that weird keyboard controller, I could play using the button combinations that the devs intended the player to use. Oh! Since I was a novice player, I did suck at some of the later songs, mostly the 4 and 5 star ones, but I still had fun trying to overcome the challenge and beat the songs, even if I ended up getting a D rank at the end of them. I mostly dabbled in the easier songs, but rhythm game veterans could definitely get value out of the later songs. Speaking of hard songs, if you beat a song on normal, you unlock the hard version of the song. It plays the exact same version of the song, but it has more notes, making it harder. I didn't really do any of these because, well, I suck. But the challenge is there for those who want to do them, which is a nice feature. Also, there are items in the game you can equip before each song that have a varying effect, such as decreasing the amount of notes in a section or making it so your combo won't break when you miss a note. I never use these, but they're there if you want to use them, and can be used at the click of a button during the song. So overall, the gameplay is fine, but nothing that really makes it that unique from other rhythm games. But what differentiates rhythm games is the music you can play the rhythm game to. So what about those? Well, it's a K-On! Rhythm game, so it will only feature songs relating to the show. Sorry, Taylor Swift fans, I know you're disappointed. But I do have some unfortunate news. Due to the release date of the game. Although the game did come out after all but one episode released, the development of this game likely happened before any of Season 2 songs or EPs were known. How do I suppose this? Well, the game features only songs played in Season 1 of K-On! Or on the 5 band member EPs released alongside Season 1 of K-On! This severely limited their options comparatively if they had Season 2 songs and EPs at their disposal, which resulted only 19 songs being featured in the game. This severely pales in comparison to the amount of songs that other rhythm games have, which does hurt this game quite a lot. Unfortunately, as mentioned before, the PS3 remaster of the game does not add any additional content, even though it released 2 years later, well after the movie came out. As for the songs chosen, most of the songs come from the EPs released by the band members, with only 5 being featured in the show. The songs all do sound good to me, but this is obviously subjective, and you will likely be disappointed if you've only heard the songs from the show, and we're hoping to play most of them here. Being able to play each song as 5 characters does help the small selection not sting quite as much as it could, alongside the hard mode for each song. In total, there are 190 different patterns that you can play on in this game, which isn't too shabby. It's just unfortunate that the patterns are stuck on 19 total songs. Luckily, the game does have some extras that you can do outside of just playing the rhythm game, like the clock feature. Woo! Let's go! It tells you the time, and the character you choose can say the date and time. Truly a revolutionary feature for its time. Although the game doesn't need other features, you can actually give the characters on the main menu certain items that you unlock by satisfying certain conditions on songs, such as beating a song as a certain character. You can decorate the band room or have a character remember a certain event in their life by giving them the right item. It's a neat little side feature that is baked right into the main menu, and the game actually has more collectibles than you think. To view all of that stuff you unlocked, you can go to the album. It's basically a gallery, where you can see stuff like the voice lines you unlock by beating songs or images shown throughout the game, like this one. If someone has a high quality rip of this, I would really appreciate it if you put it in the comments. This art is so cool. You can also make your own music videos in the Music Video Maker. It isn't a crazy in-depth maker, but it is something that I could see people putting a few hours into to mess around in. Definitely something that wasn't necessary to add, but it's a neat feature nonetheless. There's also a multiplayer feature that allows you to play songs in the game with friends who also own the game. But come on, does it really look like I have anyone to play this game with on my PSP? Don't answer honestly. Finally, there's the outfit feature, which allows you to dress up the characters in various costumes featured in the show, and a few exclusive to this game, which will show in the background when you're playing the songs in the game. Much like every other unlockable, these are unlocked by satisfying certain conditions in the game by playing the songs. So that's everything about this game. However, it's not really perfect. Firstly, the line feature is not the greatest way about going about showing when to hit the notes. As you can probably tell by the footage, I suck at this game, but part of that is due to me having to follow the line around instead of having one stationary place where I can see when the notes need to be hit. It's not a deal-breaking feature, but it is definitely not the ideal way to showcase this, which could lead to frustrating moments in the game, especially during harder songs. Also, having only 19 songs is a bummer, especially when songs like Go Go Maniac and No Thank You from Season 2 exist. I wish in the PS3 port they would have added songs, but they decided against it, which is super unfortunate. The game definitely would have benefited from having more than 19 songs in it. I watched the Toterum video on this game, which is really good by the way, you should check it out afterwards, and both of us in our own way kinda came to the same conclusion. The game is a cool novelty game, but I can't really see myself coming back to this game. I wouldn't even really recommend the game to anyone outside the K-On! Fandom, as while it is a cool K-On! Game, it's not really anything else. The story in the game is super simple, with it basically just being, hey, we're gonna play in this live show. And that's it. Each character is definitely themselves, but there's nothing about this game that advances the characters from the show whatsoever, which I personally think is fine because it's a simple rhythm game, but doesn't give it much value to play through after your first playthrough of all the songs. There are much better ways to play the song featured in the game anyway, on games where there is user-generated content, like Osu, where many songs from K-On! Have been made available to play in those games, and likely in a better system than this game has to offer. And the extras that this game does offer aren't really persuading me to fail Don't Say Lazy for the 10th time. So in conclusion, while I had my fun with this game, I can't really recommend it to anyone outside the K-On! Fandom. And even if you are in the fandom, there are likely better ways to play these songs in other games like Osu or Beat Saber that have user-generated content. I appreciate it for what it is, but if it had fixed a couple things like the way the notes are presented or had a more original story that added on to K-On!, it could have been a whole lot better. It sucks to see that this game never really reached its full potential. But hey, if this video got you in any way interested in watching K-On! And you haven't watched it before, I highly recommend it. It's a great slice of life anime with a lot of great music made just for the show. The 2 seasons of the show are available on this thing called High Dive if you want to watch it legally. And I didn't really know this website existed until now. And apparently it also has Oshinoko on it, which is popular at the time I'm making this video, so there's that too, I guess. And the movie is available for rental on YouTube. And if you want to sail the 7 seas for it, you probably already know how to do that. Well, that's all I have to say about this game. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. It's free and it helps support my channel a lot. And also, if you played this game before, consider leaving a comment. I don't really see too many people talking about this game, and I'd like to know your thoughts on it. I'll read your comment and maybe even respond to it. But with that, I hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever you are, and this is Crystalized, signing out.